be seated. Mr. Breacher.
Good morning, Your Honor. Sean Breacher from Young Conaway for the debtors. Your Honor, it has been a little bit of time since we've been in front of you, and I thought that I might provide the court with a brief update, if Your Honor would like, before we get to the main event. So, Your Honor, I'll start with operations in the United States. As you know, the court approved the transfer of the property in Miami, the Miami Seaquarium property, to Terra. That transfer was subject to a couple of things. One was the transfer of the animals from Seaquarium elsewhere, and also final commission approval from Miami-Dade commissioners, who are the landlords. With respect to the animals have been transferred from Miami Seaquarium successfully and healthily. We're happy to have completed that process, and we thank the court for entering the various orders allowing that to happen. With respect to commission approval, interim commission approval has been obtained. We are looking forward to a final commission approval coming up in approximately a month. We believe everything is progressing nicely, and we would expect a closing will follow final commission approval. The properties that were the Gulf World Marine Park and Marine Land, those transactions have both closed. So we are completed with those. Today, Your Honor, is hearing the request for approval of the final transfer of animals from the U.S. out of the Dolphin Connection facility. Ms. Mielke will walk through that with Your Honor, and then, assuming that we are able to complete those transfers in shorter order, we would be filing a motion to reject that license agreement. Overseas, we continue to make good progress on transactions in various other jurisdictions. In fact, we believe that Your Honor will be seeing documentation regarding transaction for the sale of the company's Italian business in the coming days. And finally, with respect to Mexico, we have been making strides with respect to transaction for the Mexican operations. We have met a number of challenges along the way, not the least of which are continued interference and litigation by Mr. Albor against the company, in continued violation of the automatic stay, and in continued defiance of this court's orders. We have continued to successfully defend against those challenges in Mexico, but they are continuing to be a challenge. There are a number of significant operational and tax liability issues resulting from prior management's conduct of the business pre-petition that need to be navigated in connection with completing a transaction here. We think we do have a path now through those various issues and challenges. We're optimistic that we will be able to effectuate a transaction, and are working hard to document that structure with counterparties in hopes that we can bring all of that before this court for approval sooner rather than later. But things are moving forward. We are continuing to make progress in all respects. So unless Your Honor has any questions, I'll turn things over to Ms. Mielke.
Thank you. No, I don't. Thanks for the update.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to briefly set the stage, and then we did get 3 responses, so I'll go through where those all stand and then make a few arguments, if that works for you. This is the time set aside for consideration of the transfer of the 8 bottlenose dolphins that currently reside at the debtor's Dolphin Connection facility. That's located in the Keys in Florida. And the debtors filed a notice under the miscellaneous asset sale procedures in December to approve that transfer to SeaWorld LLC. As I'm sure that you read from the debtor's reply in support of the transfer, the debtors lease their facility from the Hawks Cay Resort, and therefore do not own the real property associated with the facility. The term of the lease expires in approximately 9 months, which was a factor that significantly affected the market value of the facility. The debtors and their advisors worked for months to secure an actionable bid for the Dolphin Connection facility, but were ultimately unsuccessful, and in December decided that they should focus on finding a suitable home for the dolphins. After a significant effort, the debtors negotiated a transfer agreement with SeaWorld for the transfer of all of the dolphins together at the Dolphin Connection facility, and we did seek approval of that transfer. We received 3 responses to the requested relief. The first was an informal response from Dolphin Plus Bayside Incorporated, which was a bidder for the assets. Dolphin Plus and the debtors engaged in extensive discussions, but were ultimately unable to come to an agreement on an actionable proposal for the assets. Dolphin Plus has confirmed that it does not object to the requested relief. In addition, 2 individuals filed correspondence with the court, a woman named Danae Voiles and also Kelly Fishbach. Ms. Voiles is represented by counsel, although she did file her correspondence in a pro se capacity. Her attorney confirmed last week that Ms. Voiles is not objecting to the requested relief and does not require a hearing today. And that leaves the correspondence filed by Ms. Fishbach. I have been in contact with her, who conveyed to me last night that she stands by her concern for the animals, but she does not intend to provide any further comments at today's hearing. She also wants to explicitly clarify, and I believe she's on, so if I'm mischaracterizing, I'm sure she will chime in, that she is not in any way impugning SeaWorld or its reputation or ability to care for the animals. In addition, Your Honor, throughout this process, the debtors have been in contact with the landlord for the property, Hawks Cay Resort. Mr. Gold is here today. The landlord filed a statement in support of the requested relief, which is at docket number 919. Finally, we confirmed with the UCC's counsel yesterday, Mr. Francella is here today, that it also does not object to the transfer request and supports the debtor's requested relief. With that introduction, if it pleases the court, Your Honor, I will seek to admit the declarations in support of our requested relief today. We have 2 witnesses, Mr. Giles and Mr. Wagstaff. With the court's permission, Mr. Wagstaff is appearing via Zoom. The debtors have filed 3 corresponding declarations. The first is Exhibit C to docket number 832. The second is docket number 893. And the third is docket number 894. Mr. Giles is with Greenhill and Company, which is the debtor's investment banker, and Mr. Wagstaff is with Riveron and is the debtor's chief restructuring officer. Your Honor, I've submitted, actually I've forgotten two other documents. There's an affidavit of service illustrating the service of the notice itself, and then the license agreement that governs the Hawks Cay facility is also included in the exhibit binder that we have included. My understanding is that there is no objection to the admission of these documents, and we'd ask that they be admitted today.
Okay, let me just take them one by one. Is there any objection to the declaration, well, there's 2 declarations, of Mr. Wagstaff coming into evidence? I hear no one. Is there any objection to the declaration of Mr. Giles coming into evidence? I hear no one. And is there any objection to the license agreement between Keys Hotel Operator, Inc. and Dolphin Connection coming into evidence? I hear no one. Is anyone going to want to cross-examine either Mr. Wagstaff or Mr. Giles? I hear no one.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll keep my comments brief under the circumstances. As this court has heard on prior occasions, the debtors began a sale and marketing process for all of their assets approximately 7 months ago. As detailed in the Geisel's declaration, Greenhill went out to almost 300 parties and received outreach from additional interested parties. 21 parties executed confidentiality agreements and engaged in further diligence. Greenhill and the debtors responded to bidder inquiries, facilitated site visits, and communicated with the landlord and other parties, all in an effort to identify a transaction structure and bid proposal that would yield value to the estates. Unfortunately, due to practical and legal constraints, including the limited remaining lease term, the bid proposals received by the original bid deadline were not actionable. The debtors extended the bid deadline to facilitate additional discussions, but ultimately the debtors were unable to negotiate bids on terms that would yield value to the estates. Facing the original 365D4 deadline, the debtors determined that additional time was unlikely to create value and determined to wind down their Dolphin Connection facility. The debtors worked with the landlord to secure an extension of the 365D4 deadline to facilitate those transfers. The debtors had long been in discussions with various third-party recipients in connection with the transfer of the animals for the Seaquarium facility, and therefore had been engaging in advanced discussions with such third parties regarding the placement of the animals. After months of discussions, the debtors negotiated the agreement with SeaWorld for the transfer of the 8 dolphins that reside at the facility, and then filed the fifth transfer notice on December 22nd. I'll just note briefly, Your Honor, that by all accounts, including all of the people that reached out to us informally and formally, SeaWorld has been described as a highly reputable organization that is very capable of taking care of and transferring these animals. The debtors considered, among other things, the timing of the transfers, the suitability of the transferees that we were in discussions with, and animal welfare, among other factors. As I mentioned, we did hear from several parties after we filed the fifth notice. The debtors engaged in extensive discussions with those parties. We responded to certain additional diligence requests, and we ultimately further extended the bid deadline to provide parties with additional time to participate. Ultimately, however, such parties either declined to further participate, citing the short lease term, or were unable to participate at values that would cover the debtor's transaction and other costs. The debtors have negotiated with the landlord, as I mentioned, for an extension of the 365D4 deadline through this Friday. I believe that the landlord, although we are in current discussions with the landlord, are willing to be cooperative about the debtor's transfer timeline insofar as an orderly transfer to SeaWorld is concerned. Under the circumstances, we ask that Your Honor approve the transfer. As I mentioned, the debtors have run a comprehensive sale and marketing process, and that was significantly extended beyond the court-approved deadlines. The debtors need to ensure a safe and timely transition of the animals to a responsible third party, and by all accounts, SeaWorld is a responsible third party. And the debtors are constrained by the limits of the lease terms, applicable law, and practical concerns related to their liquidity. In sum, the debtors have reasonably exercised their business judgment in determining that the transfer of the dolphins to SeaWorld is in the best interests of the debtors' estates and should be approved. We have submitted a form of order, which we have uploaded, Your Honor. It is in the same form as the other sales that we have proposed, and so it's essentially the same order that you have previously entered, I think maybe 7 times now. So we'd ask that be entered. If Your Honor has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. I do not. Let me hear from anyone else who would like to be heard. Mr. Gold.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Beautiful morning in Delaware.
Beautiful.
Ivan Gold of Allen Mackins for Hawks Cave Resort. The legal entity name is Keys Hotel Operator, LLC. Obviously, based on the statement that we filed earlier this week, we wholeheartedly agree with the debtor. I actually disagree with one thing Ms. Melke said. She referred to it as a comprehensive sale process. I think that understates it. It was an exhaustive sale process because the deadlines that were contemplated were extended, or in some cases, I'll say revived. We work with the debtors. My client itself had expressed some interest, but we had regulatory hurdles, so we weren't actionable. But there were a number of other parties, as is outlined in the debtor's papers, but nothing came to fruition. The simple fact is, at this point, obviously we did not challenge the debtor's business judgment. We wholeheartedly support it. It's not only in the best interest of the estate to approve this transaction, it's in the best interest of the 8 bottlenose dolphins that are presently at Hawks Cay. There is really, I don't think it's disputable, there's probably no better party equipped to handle this than SeaWorld. We had previously extended the 365D4 deadline. The first extension, which you approved at docket 664, was to see if the sales process could keep rolling. And that was through 12/31. And with sale process having been exhausted really at that point, we agreed to another extension through January 31st. That you approved it at docket 852. And that was to facilitate the removal of the dolphins. The contemplation was it would have been this week or last week. And unfortunately, the process, as the old quote goes, it's not over till it's over. Parties felt the need to interject themselves at the last minute. I had conversations with Counsel for Dolphins Plus as recently as yesterday. So I want to assure the court, as Ms. Mielke said, there will be a short extension of the D4 deadline. We're not going to run in here and ask for a surrender order from Your Honor. We're working to cooperatively facilitate the removal of the animals at the same time in a way that not only is safe and appropriate for the animals, but also doesn't interfere with the operations of the resort. Although many people here in the courtroom said it probably would be fun to watch, but we'll be working with the debtor, and I want to assure Your Honor that the cooperation that we've had will continue to facilitate the proposed transfer. Unless you have any questions, that's all I have.
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to be heard? Ms. Fishbach, I know you've registered. Do you wish to be heard? If not, that's okay too.
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fishbach. Okay. What I have in front of me is the debtor's fifth notice of proposed miscellaneous animal asset transfers by which the Dolphin Connection, Inc. seeks to transfer to SeaWorld LLC 8 bottlenose dolphins. Those dolphins are currently at the Dolphin Connection in Hawks Cave Resort. I will approve that transfer of the 8 bottlenose dolphins based on the evidence that was admitted in the record today, which is uncontested. That consists of the declaration of Mr. Wagstaff and the declaration of Mr. Geisel, and they detail the marketing efforts, the extensive marketing efforts that were undertaken with respect to this particular property in efforts to see if there was an actionable deal for the property itself and or a going concern. There are constraints on this particular property in both the 365-D4 period, in which the landlord has already extended twice consensually, and the term of the lease itself, which my recollection is ends at the end of October. So that there would have to have been agreement and a deal with the landlord in order for anything to realize in terms of a going concern. That did not happen, notwithstanding the significant efforts and the participation of the landlord. So there really is, quite frankly, no option. The debtor has exercised its business judgment. The animals need to find a home somewhere else, and they need to be safely transported to that home. My understanding is that the dolphins are being kept together in their current grouping, and that SeaWorld is an appropriate transferee, new owner, to facilitate the transfer and the welfare of the animals in the new place. So for all of those reasons, I will approve this particular transfer. I do appreciate the comments that I receive in different forms from individuals who are concerned about the welfare of the animals, as is the court. But in these circumstances, this is the best, if not the only option for the Dolphins, and it's an appropriate one going to a reputable new owner. So for all those reasons, I will approve the sale as requested, and I will enter the form of order that I have entered in other circumstances.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think that's it for today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We're adjourned.